Redline Logbook here for Wistoria Chapter 59, and this chapter is basically dedicated to the cleanup of Gohtia. So a major announcement is sent across the entire battlefield to everyone, explaining how the Gohtia members are now using suicide tactics, blowing themselves up in a last-ditch effort to do as much destruction as possible, and Elfie is using her clones to basically deal with that. While in the meantime, everyone else should focus on the Gohtia leadership, which is currently trying to escape in the chaos. Leiden, one of the Gohtia leaders and head of the Darkness faction, actually sacrificed his arm in the fight with Sarissa to escape. He didn't get very far. He might have been maybe a couple of blocks, because originally he was near the center where the tower was, and the tower's still pretty close to him, so he didn't very get far before Edward catches up to him. Leiden then scolds Edward because they're both from the Darkness faction, but Edward's like, I have never allied myself with someone like you. Leiden then tries to plead to Edward's sense of anger and grief of the fact that he failed to become a Magivander. We already know this because in Chapter 2, Edward is referred to as a reacher, someone who reaches the top of the tower but doesn't attain the seat. And we actually get to see in a flashback which seat he tried to take. Yeah, he challenged Cariot for his seat as Magivander, and obviously Cariot won. And in this flashback, we actually see Edward's response going from rage towards Cariot to utter despair and realizing that he's never going to win. He's never going to become a Magivander like he always dreamed. Leiden refers to Edward as an ordinary man, and that he has no right to get in the way of a genius like him. Edward's only response is to point out that he never became a reacher. He never made it to the top of the tower, so if he's such a genius as he says he is, why was he able to surpass Edward? And Edward explains that it's because he lacks tenacity. He has no force of will. He has no courage to face those who are gifted. He just hides in his little hole, hiding from the troubles of the world. Obviously, viewing himself as a genius, Leiden does not like to be talked down to by someone he views as inferior, and then tries to attack Edward, but it's already too late. Edward, this entire time, has been slowly creating a magic circle, several of them surrounding Leiden. And so as soon as Leiden raises his arm, dozens of magic circles surround him. And to make it even more insulting, Edward made sure to make them low-grade spells, as weak as possible, making sure he dies not by some grand spell and ultimate attack, but by 1,000 little cuts. We go over to where Shade's at. She's currently being confronted by Walkner, and she's yelling at him, asking him if he enjoys picking on the weak. And they do have a personal relationship with each other because she was number 2 in the Wind faction, while she was disguised as that as Monica. In fact, Walkner even refers to her as Monica and not as Shade, and he's trying to get her to just surrender and give up, but Shade has no interest in that. She just wants Walkner to admit that he's enjoying hurting the weak. And she's generally angry about the fact that the weak have no place in this world, because we actually get to see her backstory, and when she was a child, obviously she was a member of a family that had puppetry magic. But it doesn't seem to be something that was inherent to their family. What happened was that she was living peacefully with her parents and her little sister when her grandfather showed up and handed her a grimoire that had the puppetry magic in it, and you see in the background, they all basically get absorbed into becoming puppets, including Shade herself. The rebellion then happens, and as a result of this, her entire family are punished, not just her grandfather, but everyone who knows the puppetry magic period are hung, including her little sister. The only one who survived was her. And so Shade continues to yell at Walkner, telling him that he has no idea what it's like to be punished for a cursed magic that he didn't ask for, and to have your entire family taken from you. And Walkner clearly is sympathizing with her because we actually get to see Walkner's perspective, and he's seeing Monica's face as a crying girl on top of Shade's face. Shade then declares that just as the strong have the right to take from them, the weak have the right to take from the strong, and she asked Walkner one more time if he's having fun. And it's clear he's still sympathizing with someone he's known for a long time, and is unable to give an answer at this moment, unable to do anything at this moment. So instead, Eliza attacks Shade and declares that yes, she is enjoying this. She enjoys watching as would-be tyrants try to justify their actions as they're losing. Shade's pretty much been defeated at this point, so she hasn't much of a fight left in her, and so Eliza is able just to kick her to the side and tells her that there is no one here that would sympathize with her tears. She's done too much evil to too many people. Eliza then declares that she's going to lock her in a coffin until she breathes her last breath. Basically just going to make her just fucking die of dehydration. Of course, Shade's begging for mercy, but Eliza doesn't care. In fact, as the coffin closes, she gives Shade one last smile. Eliza then walks over to Walkner and says not everyone deserves mercy. And then she flirts with him a bit, where she says that if you're going to indulge a woman, then the only one that you should indulge is me. Walkner then brushes her hand away and says in a clearly sad tone, he's never indulged anyone, and he's never going to. And this part just caught me off guard because it somewhat looked like an attack, but at the same time, the way it's drawn, it was clearly done for comedic effect. So when you just see this sole page, you're like, what the hell? Is this attack, or is this serious, or is this a joke? I don't understand. You flip the page, and it's clearly just a joke, but that was out of nowhere. Yeah, Clary just fell out of the sky and landed on Elisa, basically yelling at her, making sure she didn't do anything to Walkins. Now, Clarina, Walkins, and Edward were all classmates together, so I guess she's always had a crush on him, and their relationship never got past friendship. So this is really just her attacking another woman who laid hands on the man she likes. Honestly, her and Clynette will probably get along great. Anyway, with the defeat of Shade, this means all of Gothika has been defeated, and the only threat left is the one that's in the tower. The final fight, the monster versus Will and Liana. So I guess that will be next month's chapter. So until then, if you enjoy this video, subscribe, give it a thumbs up so you enjoy more Wistoria and other things. Thank you, and have a great day.